Now play the damn Dolly Parton. Tennessee gets their first national championship in baseball in program history. 6-5, the winner over A&M in Game 3 of the College World Series final. Tony Vitello, I know he's what, like 45 years old, and I know that there's some Titans in college baseball. Hell, Paul Maneri's back at South Carolina, but I mean, he's approaching the top of the profession, it seems like, in college baseball coaching, but hell of a ball game, hell of a program that's been to 3 College World Series in the last 4 years. The only time they weren't there was when Drew Gilbert, Chase Dolander, Trey Lipscomb was on that team too. They were the number one team in the country. They were the best team in recent memory. And this year, I do believe they are the first number 1 overall seed to win the national championship since 1999. Hell of a run for the Vols, man. And they look good in that Tennessee black and orange.
Yeah, Tony Vitello and the Tennessee Volunteers did the impossible. They were the first team since 1999. It has been 25 years since a number 1 seed won the national championship. I was talking about it with Pete Flaherty. That's the only reason I picked against Tennessee. Of course, he had Tennessee. I had Florida State. Aram had UNC. We just didn't think that the number 1 seed could win it, but Pete really broke it down. This team was too offensively gifted. They had too many guys in the bullpen, and they just had too many starters, right? Like, Jack, this team this year had a 182 WRC plus as an offense, hit 309, hit 182 homers. As a team, had a 1019 OPS. This team was just too damn good. And then you look on the pitching side, 3.16 Sierra, 3.88 ERA as a staff. They were dominant the entire way through, and they didn't let the number 1 seed bug bite them in the ass.
Where do you get college WRC plus?
It's really cool. collegebaseballinsiders.com. collegebaseballinsiders.com. We'll link it in the episode description. They had a full preview of this game. They do a great job. They have tons of stats, and I got all my stats right here.
I love that. All right, cool. I want to start the first inning because this was the highlight for me. We know how back and forth these games get, but that was a heck of a first punch from a heck of a player in Christian Moore. Like, that was as much of a tone setter as you can get in college baseball. And leave it to Christian Moore, who had what, first cycle or second cycle in men's College World Series history? I think it was the first in men's College World Series history. That happened. I mean, hell, it feels like they're in Omaha forever. That happened a week and a half ago. But I mean, for him to rip that ball pull side in the first inning was amazing. And that set the tone. Tennessee, and it helps that Peyton Manning and Rick Barnes and Josh Heupel and Morgan Wallen are all in the same suite. But I mean, they have this like energy around them, and they had this energy around them the entire week and a half in Omaha that I was absolutely infectious. And with Christian Moore and Blake Burke and Amick leading the charge, I mean, they had bats and they had that offense that would not stop.
That's why they're so prolific, because the top 3 guys in the lineup can leave the yard at any time, right? We're talking about Christian Moore, 30 plus home runs. We're talking about Blake Burke, who he just looks so damn husky up at the plate. Like, even that in that first inning where he takes that slider and he just kept the bat in the zone for what seemed like an hour and a half, just putting barrel on the baseball, even if he wasn't like that power threat that he was during the regular season, during the College World Series, he still did enough to make an impact on his team. And then Billy Amick, he just sets the tone with the walk-up song. That's always what's going to fire me up there. For all those watching on YouTube, I still don't know the song, but it fires me up every time.
We're on audio too, so you can say that you're clapping.
I'm clapping up here. They just set the tone so quickly, and then they have other guys that fill out the rest of the order that just keep the pressure on you, and then they can bring in another reliever whenever they want. They were the best team in college baseball this entire season, and they just continued to show it.
So shout out Dylan Dreiling, who is the most outstanding player of the College World Series. Chris Button had a really nice conversation with him right after the final out. But this is from the man Mike Monaco, who was a phenomenal play-by-play voice in Omaha and throughout the entire NCAA baseball tournament. Mike Monaco tweeted, Dylan Dreiling is the first player to homer in all 3 games of a men's College World Series final.
Wow.
Of College World Series championship series that go 3 games. there have been more than 170 players since the move to Charles Schwab Field in 2011 to record at least 20 at-bats in a single Men's College World Series. The only player to hit 500 in a Men's College World Series final is Oregon State's Adley Rutschman in 2018.
Wow.
So Dylan Dreiling is the first guy to homer in all 3 games, and he is the second, along with Adley Rutschman, to have a clip of 500 or better in 20 ABs.
That just furthers my point about Tennessee, right? We're talking about Dreiling. Like, Dreiling hits 4th. That guy's right after Billy Amick. They just continue to go down the line. There's no rest when you look at this lineup. And that's why they could put up a WRC plus almost at 200 as an offense and an OPS over 1,000 the entire season in the SEC. This isn't a team playing in some screwy conference that you've never heard of that's just putting up electric offensive stats. And you look at the stat sheet and you say, whoa, look at that. Now this is an SEC play where they just dominated.
That was absolutely awesome to see. I mean, hell, man, tip of the cap to A&M. I don't know what's going to shake out with what Texas's coach leaving. I know they might be offering Tony Vitello a king's ransom, or might be offering Schlossnagle a king's ransom. But I mean, kind of crazy that like we're at this era of college baseball that now that this is over, we're talking about some of the top candidates in the draft next year that could like hit the portal and it can turn into a turnstile. But enjoy the Volunteers right now. And this is a team that, like, don't forget, lost Chase Burns after this year. Like, Burns left, the future national champion, to go play at Wake Forest. And Wake Forest was damn good. But like, Burns on this Tennessee team, we're like, holy smokes, look at them. We're not going to, like, you can play the hypothetical game if you want. I don't need to because it's late and we're recording post game. But man, I mean, for what Tony Vitello has done, like, he inherited a Tennessee team that was by no means a power in college baseball before he got there. It's not Tim Corbin at Vandy levels. Like, Vandy was a not good program and became the best program in college baseball. Tennessee over the last half decade has been the best program in college baseball under Tony Vitello, but before that, they were a good program. They just weren't a great program, and I think it was 10 straight years or something. And I could be totally off with that they didn't make the NCAA tournament. Like, they were fine. They were not great, and he made them great. And these players, you have to play the games to finish the job. Recruiting can only do so much. And like with a team that, yeah, like Christian Moore can absolutely be a Major League Baseball player. Burke can absolutely be a Major League Baseball player. But, like we watched Drew Gilbert and Jordan Beck and Dolander and Burns all on that team, and they didn't make it past Notre Dame in the Super. Like, you have to go play the games. And like Cannell and his mustache finishing the 8th, like that's college baseball. That's why we like this shit.
Yeah, a couple more key moments. Xander Zekris, like the senior southpaw, hasn't allowed more than 3 runs in a start this entire year. This guy has a 3.35 ERA through 5 1/3, 6 hits, 1 earned, 7 strikeouts in a winner-take-all game against a Texas A&M offense that I know doesn't have Braden Montgomery, and I know that that's a huge loss for a Texas A&M team that was really led by Jace Laviolette and Braden Montgomery this entire year. Now, of course, Texas A&M has plenty of guys. There's a reason that they got here without Braden Montgomery, but still, for Seacrest to put on a performance like that, I thought he was fantastic. Another key moment where I thought Texas A&M lost the game. How about the stones on Vitello to keep the righty in against Laviolette instead of going with the lefty? Because, of course, like, Laviolette is hitting over 350 against lefties. So it makes sense numbers-wise. Like, it's almost like Yordan Alvarez for the Astros, right? In every playoff series, they seem to put in the lefty reliever against Yordan, and then he hits it 750 feet. Vitello said, this is our guy. This is our righty. We think that we can get him out right here. And he gets him to roll over to the second baseman, which ended up being a pretty good play because the first baseman overreached there and got Jace Laviolette. That's when I felt that the air kind of got sucked out of the Texas A&M balloon. I just felt, all right, that was the moment. Couple runners on, late in the game. your best hitters at the plate, and you just came up a little bit short. And he really came up short kind of the whole College World Series in Omaha, at least. It just losing Montgomery and then Laviolette not having one of those out-of-body experiences, that's what it felt like Texas A&M needed to win this game, and they didn't end up getting it, but it was still damn close. That's how good Texas A&M is, right? We're praising Tennessee, and for good reason, but Texas A&M lost their top 5 overall draft pick next year, and they still only lost by 1, even though I lost on the under 10.5 because there was a pass ball and there was box, but we're not going to talk about that because nobody cares. Nobody cares, Jack.
You poor thing. All you needed to do was pick a winner. And you know what? The team in black and orange won it all. Tennessee, the winners for the first time in program history. Plug the merch.
Go get yourself some Just Baseball merch. How about this? Rope hats back in stock, ladies and gentlemen. Go get yours in the episode description. Rate and review 5 stars on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow. Of course we will. For Jack McMullen, I'm Peter Apple. We'll see you tomorrow. And with that, thank you, everybody.